Garcia. I'm here with Tatiana DeCastro, Brianna Cuellar, Manny Salcedo, Tatiana McDowell, and Krista Garcia. Let's start off by, imagine a world where an athlete is judged entirely on their skill, passion, regardless of their gender. What if we judge athletes the same way we judge artists or musicians? By their talent, not their background or identity. Now think of a world that would look for transgender athletes if they were welcomed into competitive sports and celebrated for their abilities rather than their genders. For athletes, the true measure of success should be about what they can achieve and not who they are. My purpose today is to inform you about the pros and cons of transgender athletes in competitive sports, also known as fair play for all. I have spent considerable time researching this topic and reading articles and analyzing data on transgender athletes. I will discuss fair play for all. The first point would be physical advantages and disadvantages of transgender athletes, how competitive athletes encourage achievement beyond gender, the potential for discrimination and bias, and exploring personal expression and well-being. Now that we have some information, let's start by exploring the physical aspects of fairness in transgender athletes. My first con, disadvantages and for transgender women. In a recent article published by Lindsay E. Irvin on Forbes, is a study shown on transgender women, suspiciously. Transgender women reveals that they experience some physical disadvantages to cisgender women. These factors include such as lower body strength, higher body fat, and differences in lung functions. Darwin emphasizes that the performance is based on what they first came from biologically rather than what they come from. So, my next point, what does this mean for transgender athletes in competitive sports? Let's look up how they contribute to athletes' achievements beyond gender. Leads me to my first pro. An article titled Fair Play for All, published in 2021 from the Center for American Progress, studied the story of Jay, transgender man. He was faced rejection from his teammates when he first transitioned into his change. However, he had to move schools, and from there he was accepted by his coach. His coaches called him by a man. This story helped Jay want to encourage other people to become who they are and their true selves without the consequences. And another article from The Hill published in 2024 by Zoe Zephyr, a transgender woman in wrestling, reflects on her 15 years in the sport, sharing valuable life lessons she learned and emphasizes despite critics who focus on physical disadvantages, she works to encourage others to be who they are. As we see, transgender receive encouragement for embracing their true selves. This leads to my next point, the potential for discrimination or bias. My second con, the impact of discrimination and bias. In a study featured by Ohio Capital Journal published in December 11, 2023, it was found that 24 U.S. states had enacted laws banning transgender athletes from participating in sports that align along their gender. Their bans enrolled in conservative policies, various and public based against transgender individuals who can have a significant impact. Solely on the government, the discrimination was that since they transgendered, they weren't fully a woman since they transgendered, but they just want to be who they are. Okay, an article from CNN published in 2024, it was reported that Leah Thompson, a transgender woman, broke world records in women's swimming. That brought up some bias, which made critics argue that transgender women like bias have unfair advantages. They have seen many concerns based off that she might have used performance enhancers since she had transitioned from a woman to a man. But the study has shown that she worked towards what she wanted, not because of the enhancers from her transition. Despite challenges of discrimination, sports provide significant benefits for transgender athletes in personal expression and well-being. My second point, the mental and physical well-being. According to an article published by Taylor and Francis online in 2021, states sports can provide significant benefits for mental health and physical health. It holds the true for transgender athletes as well. Participation in sports help their confidence, social skills, and mental resilience. Not only can sports help individual well-being, but can also inspire transitioning youth to believe in themselves. As highlighted in a fact sheet by the Center for American Progress published in 2021, states sports are especially important for transgender youth, encouraging them to embrace their identity and develop a health mindset. Fairness is a sport starts early to expand wider. This article focused on the well-being from starting at youth so while they're into their adult stage and finish their transformations, they were able to have a positive mindset rather than a negative. Having seen this importance, well-being, take a minute and reflect back on the main points that we discussed earlier. Today we discussed the physical advantages and disadvantages of transgender athletes, the reflective sports encouragement beyond gender, the impact of discrimination and bias, and how sports can contribute to mental of transgender athletes. I hope the discussion I hope you can now understand what transgender athletes face every day in their pursuit in their selves in sports. Earlier I asked you what would you judge a musician or artist based on their background or abilities? What if we did the same? For transgender athletes, embracing their talent without judgment for who they are. This is a reminder that our world is evolving and how we can ensure fairness for all athletes regardless of their gender.